You're watching this right now because there's a voice in your head, a nagging, persistent voice reminding you about that thing you need to do, that project sitting on your desk, that conversation you've been avoiding, that goal you keep pushing to next week, next month, next year. If you give me 16 minutes, no pausing, no distractions, no scrolling through your phone, I'm going to show you how to completely rewire your brain and destroy procrastination at its root. I'm not talking about some motivational speech that makes you feel good for an hour. I'm talking about understanding the actual neuroscience behind why you procrastinate and using that knowledge to permanently change how your brain responds to difficult tasks. But before we dive in, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button to help this reach more people struggling with the same battle, and turn on notifications. Now, let's get into it. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. You don't procrastinate because you're lazy. You don't put things off because you lack discipline or willpower. You procrastinate because there's an ancient survival mechanism in your brain that's completely hijacking your ability to take action. Let me paint you a picture of what's actually happening inside your skull every time you avoid something important. There's a region deep in your brain called the limbic system. This system includes a tiny walnut-sized structure called the amygdala, and it's been running the show for millions of years. Its job is simple: detect threats and keep you breathing. But here's the problem. Your limbic system can't tell the difference between facing a predator and facing a blank document where you need to write a report. To your amygdala, both situations trigger the exact same alarm bells: danger, threat, potential pain ahead. When you think about that presentation you need to prepare or that project sitting incomplete for weeks, your amygdala starts screaming danger signals throughout your entire nervous system. And then something fascinating happens. Your prefrontal cortex, the most evolved part of your brain responsible for planning and rational thought, becomes your worst enemy instead of your ally. Instead of overriding the false alarm, your prefrontal cortex starts working overtime to justify the fear response. It creates elaborate, logical-sounding excuses that feel completely rational. I don't have enough time to do this properly right now. I need to be in the right mood. I should do more research before I start. Today isn't ideal. I'll be more productive tomorrow. These aren't rational decisions. They're rationalizations. Your logical brain is creating stories to justify a decision your emotional brain already made, to run away from perceived danger. When you avoid starting that task, it's because there's a quiet voice asking terrifying questions. What if I fail? What if I discover I'm not as capable as I thought? What if people judge me and realize I'm a fraud? Your brain, in its misguided attempt to protect you, whispers poison. Better not to try it. All. At least if you don't try, you can't fail. This is the core insight that changes everything. Procrastination isn't a character flaw. It's a misconfigured defense mechanism. Your brain genuinely believes it's protecting you from pain and disappointment. But what it's actually doing is trapping you in a cycle of regret. And here's the part that should make you pay attention. There's a scientifically proven way to reprogram this system. Let's talk about something most people completely misunderstand. Dopamine. Everyone thinks dopamine is just the pleasure chemical. That's only part of the story. Dopamine is actually your brain's motivation fuel. It's the neurochemical that drives you toward goals, keeps you focused on tasks, pushes you to keep going, even when you want to quit. But here's where it gets interesting. There are two completely different dopamine systems operating in your brain right now. The first system is called phasic dopamine. These are quick, explosive spikes that hijack your attention and make you act impulsively. This is what happens when you click on a random video when you should be working. It's what makes you scroll through social media for hours. It's what drives you to check your phone every few minutes. The second system is tonic dopamine. This is a steady, sustained flow that keeps you locked into a task from beginning to end. It's what allows you to read a 400-page book cover to cover. It's what gives you the endurance to see projects through to completion. The problem with chronic procrastinators is that phasic dopamine completely dominates tonic dopamine. Imagine you have a garden hose delivering steady water to help your plants grow. That's tonic dopamine nourishing your ability to focus. But then someone keeps shutting off that hose and redirecting all the water to a sprinkler that gives you quick bursts of pleasure. That's phasic dopamine stealing resources from productive work. Every single time you give in to a quick distraction, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're training your nervous system to prefer instant gratification over long-term rewards. The modern world is designed to exploit this vulnerability. social media, games, streaming services, they're all engineered to trigger those explosive phasic dopamine spikes as frequently as possible. So, what do you do about this? First, you need to be brutally honest with yourself. Take out a piece of paper right now and write down the task you've been avoiding. Not later, right now. Then write down the real fear underneath that avoidance. Are you afraid of not being good enough? Afraid of judgment from others? Afraid of wasting time on something that might not work out? This step is critical because unnamed fears live in the shadows of your mind, growing larger with each passing day. But when you write a fear down by hand, something profound happens. You activate your motor cortex in connection with your limbic system. You transfer the processing of that fear from your emotional, irrational amygdala to your logical, rational prefrontal cortex. You transform a vague, overwhelming threat into a concrete problem you can actually address. Now I'm going to teach you something that sounds completely backwards but is incredibly powerful. Learn to fear the right thing. Most people fear action, but what you should actually fear is inaction. Close your eyes and visualize this. 6 months from now, you still haven't done anything about the task you're avoiding today. You're still in the exact same place, making the same excuses, feeling the same frustration. How does that feel? What opportunities have slipped through your fingers? Now push that visualization further. 3 years from now, same patterns, same avoidance. Where is your life? What have you missed out on? What regrets are weighing on your chest? This isn't meant to torture you. It's meant to recalibrate your internal risk assessment. Your brain sees the immediate discomfort of starting a task as a major threat, but it completely ignores the massive long-term pain of regret. The biggest risk isn't trying and failing. The biggest risk is never trying at all and spending your life wondering what could have been. When you genuinely internalize this, when you start to fear inaction more than action, something powerful shifts. Procrastinating becomes more painful than taking action. Let's get tactical about managing your dopamine system. Here's what you need to do. 1 task at a time. Write down just one difficult thing you need to accomplish today. Your brain can't release sustained tonic dopamine for multiple competing goals simultaneously. Set artificial deadlines. If you think a task will take 4 hours, give yourself 3. Controlled time pressure increases efficiency and triggers hormones that can enhance focus. Choose your reward before you begin. Decide on something you genuinely want, but that you can only receive after completing the task. This creates anticipation, which triggers dopamine release that fuels your motivation. Remove competing dopamine sources. Put your phone in another room. Close every browser tab except what you need. Turn off all notifications. Silence everything. Create an environment where sustained focus is the path of least resistance. The reward must be intentional, not automatic. Watching Netflix isn't a reward if you already watch it out of habit every night. You need to transform pleasurable activities into genuine rewards by making them conditional on task completion. This trains your brain to associate difficult work with anticipated pleasure. But there's a hidden enemy that can sabotage this entire system: perfectionism. Many people think perfectionists are the most productive people. The truth is the exact opposite. Perfectionism is one of the most devastating forms of procrastination because it disguises itself as high standards. Perfectionists procrastinate more than almost anyone else because their standards are so impossibly high that starting feels overwhelming. They create elaborate logical excuses. I can't start this now because I only have 2 hours and I need at least 4 hours of uninterrupted time. I need to be inspired to produce quality work. The environment isn't quite right. These thoughts are traps. There is no perfect time. There are no perfect conditions. Waiting for perfection is just another form of procrastination dressed up in respectable clothing. So here's your new rule. The imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. Use what I call the 2 minutes of terrible work rule. Commit to doing just 2 minutes of absolutely awful, mediocre work. No pressure to perform. No expectations of brilliance. Just 2 minutes of whatever garbage your brain can produce. Why does this work? Because the biggest obstacle isn't doing the work well. It's simply getting started. Once you break the initial inertia, momentum builds naturally. Your brain can't deploy perfectionist excuses against something you've already accepted will be imperfect. Let me tell you something most productivity advice ignores. You are not stronger than your environment. You can have all the motivation in the world. But if your environment is pulling you toward distraction, you will lose that battle eventually. If your desk is covered with distractions, if your room is cluttered, if your phone is buzzing every 3 minutes, you've already lost before beginning. Procrastination is often a direct reflection of the environment you've surrounded yourself with. Want to change your behavior? Change your surroundings. Create a dedicated space for focused work. Clean, minimalist, with minimal visual distractions. Make the task you want to do inevitable. If you need to write, leave your computer open on a blank document. Reduce friction for what you want to do and increase friction for what you want to avoid. Your brain naturally follows the path of least resistance. If you engineer an environment where focused action is easy and distraction is difficult, procrastination loses its power. Here's something most people don't realize. Often you don't procrastinate because you're lazy. You procrastinate because you're confused. The task feels like a massive, shapeless monster. You stare at it, feeling overwhelmed, and your brain simply shuts down. The solution is clarity. Take whatever task you're avoiding and break it down into pieces so small they feel almost ridiculous. Don't tell yourself to write a book. Tell yourself to open the document and write the title. Don't tell yourself to organize your entire house. Tell yourself to fold 3 shirts. This technique taps into something called the Zeigarnik effect. Your mind hates unfinished tasks. Once you start something, even something tiny, your brain creates internal tension that pushes you to continue until completion. You're essentially hacking your own psychology. Don't wait for clarity to magically appear. Build clarity by fragmenting the enormous into the minuscule. Let's talk about something that sabotages more people than any productivity technique could ever save: energy management. Have you noticed you procrastinate more when you're tired? There's a scientific reason. Your brain consumes roughly 20% of your body's total energy. When your energy levels drop, your brain naturally seeks out less demanding activities. It's not laziness, it's basic biology. This means energy isn't a luxury. Energy is the foundation of everything. Sleep properly. 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep isn't optional. It's the price of admission for a brain that can focus and execute. Move your body. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain and releases neurochemicals that enhance mood and focus. Eat strategically. Don't run your brain on sugar crashes and caffeine spikes. Provide stable fuel through balanced nutrition. Respect your natural cycles. Are you sharpest in the morning, afternoon, evening? Schedule your most difficult tasks during your peak energy windows. Now let's talk about commitment. Procrastination thrives in vagueness. When you tell yourself you'll do something one day, that day never comes. You need to create real commitment. Write down your commitment. Take a piece of paper, write the specific task you're going to complete, include a deadline, and sign it. Make it visible. Put that written commitment somewhere you'll see it multiple times per day. Tell someone else. Admit your commitment publicly. When other people know what you've promised, accountability increases dramatically. Create consequences. Set up real stakes for not following through. When you position yourself where your word is on the line, your identity begins to shift. You stop being someone who procrastinates and start becoming someone who follows through. Let me leave you with this final thought. Everything I've shared with you today ultimately points to a fundamental decision about who you choose to be. Overcoming procrastination isn't really about tricks or shortcuts. It's about identity. The legendary samurai Miyamoto Musashi didn't wait for motivation before he trained. He didn't wait for inspiration before he acted. He took action because action was his identity. He was a warrior, and warriors act despite fear, despite doubt, despite discomfort. You don't need to be a samurai, but you do need to show up for your daily battles. Every single time you act despite fear, despite the desire to postpone, despite your brain screaming at you to wait, you're forging a new identity. You're strengthening neural pathways that lead to action instead of avoidance. You're teaching your nervous system that you're capable, that you're reliable, that you're someone who does hard things. The voice in your head that tells you to wait, to postpone, to do it tomorrow, that voice will probably never completely disappear, but it will get quieter. It will have less power over you, because you'll have evidence through your actions that you're not controlled by fear or the primitive parts of your brain. You're in charge. You're the one making decisions, and you've decided to be someone who takes action. If you've made it this far, I'm genuinely grateful for your time and attention. Now I invite you to watch the video appearing on your screen next. It contains more valuable insights that will help you on this journey. Be present, walk with honor, follow your path, and most importantly, take action today.